When the announcement trailer for Sonic Frontiers came out about 6 months ago, back in December 9th, 2021, the excitement was palpable. This is the trailer in question, and what it hinted at was essentially a vast open-world Sonic game, and that was quite an interesting prospect, given the speed of Sonic, to be able to use that speed to traverse the open world and engage in Sonic-esque activities, you know, going through loops and bouncing around and speedy platforming segments, and partaking in various activities in both bite-sized forms scattered throughout the map, and maybe some bigger areas where you have those Sonic gameplay moments. Like, that prospect was certainly very appealing, and the trailer here does this announcement trailer does a good job of, like, raising anticipation. But it's all very cinematically filmed. We really didn't get to see actual gameplay, more of, like, what the concept of this is. And the holiday 2022 release window is important to keep in mind as I delve further into this video. That's essentially at most 6 months until the game is out. 6 months of development that they have left. Now this trailer right here, you can see 113,000 likes versus 1.1 thousand dislikes. This is essentially an over 99% upvote ratio. People were ecstatic to see this. Then came the IGN First teaser trailer that gave us a small glimpse of the full gameplay demo. This was published on May 31st, 2022, and the likes to dislikes ratio here is also fairly positive, 92,000 likes versus 1.8 thousand dislikes, roughly like 98%-ish upvote ratio. And the teaser itself also looks pretty cool. In fact, when I first saw this, I thought to myself, man, there's so much potential here for this to be an incredible Sonic game. I thought to myself, okay, there is something here. But it's one thing to see the gameplay cut up like this. It's another thing to see the gameplay in full. And look, I'm not entirely ruling out this game. All I'm saying is, with 6 months left in the game's development, and with how, for lack of better words, tech demo-y the gameplay looks when you look at it straight through, it's starting to get a little concerning. Because the gameplay that I'm seeing here almost feels like a prototype. And others in the comment section of this world premiere gameplay will say the same. First of all, looking at the likes to dislikes ratio, 58,000 likes versus a whopping 21,000 dislikes. The feedback here is definitely quite mixed. A lot of people feel like, okay, this is not the level of quality we're expecting from this title. And the top comment literally says, looks like a tech demo, over 22,000 upvotes for this comment. And plenty of people just, you know, they're highlighting some of the positive aspects. You know, there are elements of the visuals that do look pretty. And, you know, there is, again, a lot of potential with this concept of an open world Sonic game where you can run around at blazing speeds wherever you like and partake in all kinds of vast scale open world environments where we can really kind of take advantage of that speed and that roller coaster kind of vibe that Sonic tends to give off. But the general feedback here is stuff like, looks very interesting, but it feels a bit empty and too stiff with many things just popping up as Sonic runs. We'll certainly see that in the world premiere gameplay once I start playing it and reacting and commenting to it. Here's another top-rated comment that reads, this looks like an indie project and a AAA game at the same time, 8.3 thousand upvotes. Here's one more comment emphasizing the sort of empty and dead and kind of clunky nature of the gameplay. The game itself is beautiful. My only gripes is that it seems dead. There's no wildlife anywhere except for that one bird. The other thing is Sonic seems really slow for some reason. He loses momentum quickly while taking a long time to build up, so on and so forth. Now let's take a look at the gameplay itself, where we can really see why people feel the way they do. And right out of the gate, this IGN First video opens with this shot where things already look questionable. You can see in the distance, things are kind of randomly floating in the air, these rails and roller coaster-like elements that Sonic's supposed to traverse through, but it's all kind of just shoved in there with no visual cohesion. It almost looks like a pop-in glitch or something, but this is just where they decided to throw in these elements that Sonic is supposed to interact with, and they're kind of scattered all over, floating in the sky, and none of it feels like it's done in a way where it blends really well with the open world, where it's all done in a way that it makes sense. It just feels like they just threw stuff in there without thinking about the visual design aspect of things. And to my eyes, the overall visuals of this game lack a certain distinct and identifiable art style. The art style is almost generic and leaning maybe too much into realism. Sonic has that kind of distinct cartoony style about him, but everything else has that bland realism that I'm not sure is ideal. I feel like things should just be a lot more colorful. It could have really come up with a very stylized open world that feels unlike other games visually, but this kind of feels like the kind of open world you see in just about any other game or any other tech demo. And beyond that, just the graphics do look a bit dated from this perspective. Things in distance just seem to lack detail. It kind of reminds me of the Halo Infinite campaign gameplay reveal, the one that faced quite a bit of backlash and inspired the year-long delay. In that gameplay demo, you may recall a lot of things in the background looked like it just needed more polish, both in terms of detail, and then on a technical level, there was just so much pop-in and, shadows flickering, and there are definitely elements of that you'll see in this footage. But yeah, this first shot already, I'm like, okay, this looks kind of off and weird, but okay, let's see what's in the rest of the trailer. And while there are bright spots here and there, conceptually,
2022 is all about Sonic Frontiers. We've got gameplay, we've got previews,
in terms of how it overall looks and feels,
who made it all happen. All month long, we'll be diving deep into what you can expect when
it just feels like this game needs way more time than 6 months to fully flesh out.
Exploring the mysterious island that Sonic suddenly finds himself stranded on at the start of the game.
To fully realize this concept.
Throughout June, so you don't miss anything. Until then, here's your first look at gameplay from Sonic Frontiers.
Okay, so here we are. The music, they definitely took cues from Breath of the Wild. Those kind of low-key piano keys. So one of the things I'm already kind of put off by is Sonic's animation is just kind of awkward. You'll especially see this later on. But it's got that, like, instantaneous transition of animations instead of animations that like flow into each other. And so right here, we're sort of navigating this open world, collecting some coins, and jumping through some hoops and whatnot, but it all kind of feels a bit aimless. Like, what is the objective ultimately? And yeah, this looks awkward, a bit Breath of the Wild-esque. But the climbing looked very, like, stilted and weird. Right here, okay, so this is an awkward animation where Sonic doesn't have a different animation for him when he's walking super slowly. And so, because they use the kind of medium speed walking animation for when he's walking really slow, it just looks like he's, like, moonwalking in midair. Or, like, sliding in a weird way in midair. Right here, especially, you see that? Just how bizarre that looks. And when he like walks a little faster, the animation doesn't change all that much. It's all the same animation with the same speed of leg movement. And so here we have just more like sliding around, and like this looks cool, but it's like what are the rewards for doing this? And is it just these little bite-sized areas that you roller coaster around? And look at the popping right there. Just gonna go back real quick. So yeah, some pretty significant popping, and I get that there's still 6 months worth of development, so I'm not gonna riff on that too much. But the issues stretch far beyond that alone, in my opinion. And it's generally just not the kind of impression you want to make with an open world game like this. Seeing pop-up happen so constantly and so blatantly, it's not even like hidden very well. It's not one of those things you have to squint your eyes for. It's so just right there in your face, and it's jarring. Takes you out. It just feels like you're kind of rushing through the world with a couple roller coastery moments. But it's just, my question is, will that kind of eventually get old? Because none of these mini roller coaster segments, if you will, feel extensive enough or engaging enough where it'll make for good long-term gameplay. I do love the wall running here, that's pretty dope. The sense of speed, I think, as he traverses through the world, I think that seems pretty cool. But the activities look like they lack substance. They look kind of bland. It all just seems to be like a collect-a-thon kind of thing. Just grab all the rings out there, grab all the shiny bits. And at the same time, the roller coastery stuff, none of it is so far exhilarating enough because it's all just sort of bite-sized and spread around. None of it feels like this cohesive wild ride. It all just feels like, oh, a little speedy segment here, a little bounce here, a little jump there. And then you're just kind of rushing through the open world again. But at the same time, you got segments like this where maybe that's a dungeon that we got to explore at one point. Or I guess in this case it's just an entrance to another area of the map. Who knows, maybe there's a lot more in terms of activities and what this gameplay is showing. Maybe they're really just showing us basic world traversal. That is not representative of just how dense this open world may actually end up being. What you can discover, how expansive some of these sonic levels, if you will end up being. But it's like, this is your chance to make a good first impression. And to me, this feels more like... Actually, let me pause here real quick, because this shot right here especially highlights just how haphazardly stuff seems to be placed in the open world, just kind of randomly floating in the sky. It just doesn't look attractive. It doesn't look right. Again, it almost looks like a glitch. It looks like it's this incomplete asset, this incomplete structure. It looks like they accidentally hit delete on the building that those railings are housed on and just left the railings floating in the air. Like, it's one of the most visually jarring things I've seen in an open world design and environment. But as I was saying, to me this feels like when somebody goes, imagine Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine 5 and then make a tech demo of Ocarina of Time running on Unreal Engine 5. Wow, look at that massive pop-in right there. And it's like, it looks pretty, yes, because it just, the fidelity of the graphics are just better than obviously N64. But at the same time, usually with those kinds of tech demos, you can see like the animations are still kind of off. The visual cohesion of everything is not quite there. Not everything blends as well as it should. And you can tell it's like a tech demo. And this feels like it's kind of in that vein of like somebody decided to add Sonic in this, like, I don't know, Unreal Engine open world or something, and just like implemented some basic stuff to just like show off the potential of what something like this could do. But it doesn't feel, this feels like a vertical slice. Something you'd show during like a presentation to pitch the game. Is my opinion, at least. It just doesn't feel like it's quite ready for that like big audience reveal. And I'm not ruling out the possibility that when we see the next gameplay trailer or demo months down the line, closer to launch, we won't see more to what this game has, more of what this game has to offer beyond these like very kind of basic looking activities. This comment right here, I feel like really captures how I felt when I first saw this trailer. This looks like a game that a really dedicated fan would make, demonstrating what Sonic in an open world setting would look like, not a game from a AAA studio. Then again, the trailers did show, some bosses here and there, and we didn't get a glimpse of that in this world premiere gameplay. Again, maybe they're really showing off just the most basic things you can do in this game. But even then, the level design of even the basic things it doesn't feel like a whole lot of thought was put into it. And one thing that I've seen Sonic fans complain about is the lack of momentum playing a role in Sonic's ability to move around the environment. This is a tweet by Dave Luddy here. He tweeted, "I think Sonic Frontiers has problems beyond just delay it." And right here he shows this momentum-based kind of physics going on here from a 2001 game. Which game is this? This is Sonic Adventure 2 from 2001. You can see he cannot go up this railing because he doesn't go into it with enough speed. And nothing like that is represented in Sonic Frontiers from what people can tell. It's just as soon as you stick to the railing, boom, you're just kind of shot around. It's more sort of like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, where it's more about just that on-rails experience instead of like the consideration of how fast is Sonic going, and am I going fast enough where I can like do this now, and how do I build up that speed, and how do I navigate the world and the environment in consideration of my momentum and how much momentum I need to be able to go up a certain railing or to run up a certain wall. It all feels kind of mindless. It doesn't feel like much thought really has to be put into traversing the open world. You just kind of go from site to site and do a little loop-de-loop, see what's there, you move on to the next thing. That alone can't carry a game. So their concerns is where I'm at right now. I'm not ruling this game out completely yet, because we have ultimately only seen 7 minutes, and it all just seems like the developers just kind of screwing around the open world without any of the, I guess, main quest stuff, the campaign stuff, the bosses. We haven't seen any of that. But what we've been shown so far currently lacks cohesion, lacks a sense of, what the sort of the gameplay loop of this will be. Things like how kind of janky the animations look at this stage, 6 months out from the game's release. How indie it all feels despite the AAA level graphics fidelity. Now that I've seen sort of 7 minutes of straight gameplay or 6 minutes of straight gameplay, my expectations have been lowered. I'm going to go into this with cautious, optimism or pessimism. It's really hard to gauge at this point. All I know is that this gameplay did really underwhelm me, ultimately, and certainly judging by the general feedback here, it seems to have underwhelmed a lot of people, and I hope a lot can change in 6 months. If there was like a year's worth of development left, then I'd be like, okay, this is, likely a very early build, and this is going to get far more refined. With 6 months out, with only 6 months left of development, if the game doesn't get delayed, that is, I'm not sure they can spruce what's here up enough. My only hope is that I just end up being my words. I end up being so wrong about my current pessimism after seeing this world premiere gameplay. I honestly kind of hope they delay this game. That will give me a bit more confidence that this will be a more compelling experience than what they've shown so far. But this is just one man's initial impressions based off of this world premiere gameplay that I don't think did a good job at highlighting the potential of this game, if that potential is set to be realized when we do see a more final form of this game. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are. Are you on my side of the fence where this just does not look great and it really kind of downgraded your hype for this? Or are you in the camp of, this feels like they're just showing the foundation of this game, and it feels like there's still a lot of potential that they're just like keeping their cards close to the chest kind of scenario? I'm more on the side of, this is just not looking like a cohesive, good game for now. Prove me wrong, Sega. But yeah, that's my take. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.